Yo, Michael Saylor just bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin this morning, but the price once again started crashing at 10 a.m. What is it about this 10 a.m. mark? I don't know what's happening. We're starting to see an interesting trend over the past couple of months, where as soon as the U.S. markets opens up, Bitcoin gets absolutely plastered. It gets smashed. It just dumps. But why? To answer that question, let's remind you of what Larry Fink said last week.
Bitcoin is an asset of fear. And when you're less fearful, like we had a trade agreement with China, you saw a shift downward. There is conversations this week that there may be some type of settlement in Ukraine. Bitcoin fell a little bit. So you own Bitcoin because you're frightened of your physical security. You own it because you're frightened of your financial security. The long-term fundamental reason you own it because of the debasement of financial assets because of deficits. And so to me, even the movement in the last week, and we've had a 20, 25% drawdown, and this is the third time since IBIT was created, our ETF. And so this is, you see these shifts, and they're actually pretty non-correlated shifts, and so the role.
But then some people say, is that really insurance, right? If you had bought it at $125,000 and it's now sitting at $90-some-odd thousand, you're saying to yourself,
if you bought it for a trade, it's a very volatile asset. You're going to have to be really good at market timing, which most people aren't. If you're buying it as a hedge against all your hope, then it has a meaningful impact on a portfolio. The other big problem of Bitcoin is it's still heavily influenced by leveraged players.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to focus on the last part. Also joining us on the show today, we got the one, the only Bitcoin Ben. And we have some special things for you guys later on the show. We're going to be talking about that in just a second. But I wanted to focus on the part where Larry Fink was talking about specifically, he said the quiet part out loud, said that Bitcoin is still being run by leverage players. And what we're starting to see, again, it's like effing clockwork. It like doesn't fail. Monday through Friday, every time the U.S. market opens, the traditional financial markets open at 10 a.m. on the dot, the Bitcoin price dumps, right? And Larry Fink said the quiet part out loud. He said, like, look, it's insurance. If you want hope for the world, if you want whatever, Andrew Sorkin's like kind of giving him pushback. He's like, look, bro, if that's true, then it's kind of bad insurance because this thing is dumping, like if you bought out 125K, you're not really very happy right now. But Larry Fink, of course, he's incentivized to say this. This is the best performing ETF BlackRock has ever had and has ever launched, I might add. So he's making boatloads of money off of this. So he's incentivized to say these sort of things. But he said the quiet part out loud. He said that Bitcoin is still run by leverage players. And that's exactly why we're starting to see. No, that's exactly why we've seen these dumps at 10 a.m. on the dot like clockwork. Every single time, Monday through Friday, when U.S. markets are open at 10 a.m., Bitcoin dumps like it's just crazy. Like something's going on there. And why is this happening? I mean, let me pull up some of this source material that Opti got for me. And dude, it's these crazy, crazy liquidations. Like they make it green, but in reality, these are people getting absolutely #wrecked. The amount of longs that were liquidated in the last 4 hours, 4-hour wrecked chart is $347 million. In the last 24 hours, the amount of longs that were liquidated was $491 million. In the last hour alone, the amount of longs that were liquidated were $48.5 million. So this is what's happening. Here's a comment by British Hodl. He said, leverage is being wiped from Bitcoin in an orchestrated systematic fashion. This is great for long-term holders. Do you think nothing was going to happen when in the New York Times segment, when Andrew Ross Sorkin and Larry Fink made a point to say, quote, the other big problem that Bitcoin has is that it is still heavily influenced by leveraged players? Did anyone else pay attention anymore? Does anyone pay attention anymore? And he's absolutely spot on and absolutely right to point this out. This is what's happening right now. Leverage is getting flushed out by the institutional players, by Wall Street. So this is why you're seeing this, to use British HODL's own words, this systematic dump at 10 a.m. on the dot. And again, if you're using leverage, right, you guys know what we advocate for here at Simply Bitcoin. Really, the only way to fundamentally change the system is to buy Bitcoin spot, take that Bitcoin into self-custody, and go about your day. Go enjoy your family. Go fiat mine. Go to the beach. Do what it makes you happy, right? But that's all you got to do. Spot Bitcoin, self-custody, bam, bing, bam, boom, we're going to win. If enough individuals do that, we're going to win by default, right? So the point I'm trying to make, though, is that Wall Street is taking advantage of all the suckers that are still thinking that we're in 2017 or we're in 2020, and they're still operating under the assumption that Wall Street isn't here. Wall Street is here, and Wall Street makes a living off taking money off of retail, right? So now you're going up against the heaviest of the heavyweights that have, to use Simon Dixon's own words, the financial industrial complex behind them. That means media, by the way. Media, again, markets, the biggest banks, all these, so much capital to just push and push down the price of Bitcoin, push up the price of Bitcoin, basically to shake you F out of your bags. That's literally what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to bore you to death, and they're literally trying to shake you out of your bags. So how do you circumvent all of this? It's just simple. Buy Bitcoin spot, put it in self-custody, go about your day, and none of this should affect you. None of this should bother you. But if you want to know why the price is dumping, that's it. I mean, British HODL broke it down spectacularly. If Larry Fink is saying it, the CEO of the largest asset manager in the world, their most profitable product is the Bitcoin product, he's talking the Satoshi gospel. I know he wants people to buy the Bitcoin ETF, but he's still saying Bitcoin is hope, right? He's basically saying, listen, look, Bitcoin is still run by leveraged players. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to shake out those leverage. If you want to give Wall Street free money, give them free money. That's basically what he's trying to say, right? So anyways, we got Bitcoin Ben joining us on the show today, and we have a special for you guys. You guys absolutely love when Bitcoin Ben goes off. So we have a special edition of Simply Bitcoin, which we're going to be doing on a monthly basis. And the way that it's going to work is this. It's very simple. Once we get to the culture segment, we're going to end the live stream on YouTube, and we're going to live stream exclusively to Rumble. And we haven't prepared the graphics yet, but it's going to be Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. And Ben's going to be able to speak his mind because, again, Ben has some fantastic takes, but we've had to reel him in a little bit because, again, we have to be, we have to play by, YouTube's rules, and we respect the platform. But this is why we're going to be doing a Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered on Rumble. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned to the end of the show, the culture segment, because that's where we're going to do it. Anyways, let's continue this conversation. Opti, by the way.
Well, let's go to Ben first, because
sure.
I think everyone heard my takes about what's going on, and this is just more confirmation of exactly going on. So I'd like to hear Ben, and then I'll chime in real quick. So Ben, what's your thought? I saw you nodding your head on the whole leverage trading getting washed out. So from someone that's been around for a little longer than, say, Nico and I, is this exactly what's going on, or are we kind of seeing things that's not happening?
Well, let me explain exactly what's... All right, leveraged people are weak. And what is actually going on is they are wiping out our weakest warriors. Because if you're leveraged and you're like, oh, I'm going to leverage and I'm going to trade and you're a fucking idiot, right? Because you're just in it to get rich. You want as much of those shit ass fucking US dollars as you can get. I don't want US dollars. I don't give a flying shit what the price is because we're at war. And Larry, listen up. You are not a friend to our community. You're the fucking enemy.
Save it for Rumble, bro. Save it for Rumble. We got to make it to the finish line.
Oh, I was trying to be light.
Oh, man.
Here, let me explain this really quick and everyone's going to get it when I say it. All right. There are two sides. You have communist, globalist, and the progressives. They're all one group. Then you have us, liberty, freedom, American, freedom-oriented people. There's two groups, all right? And Larry Fink ain't on our fucking side, all right? He's on, that's why he now runs the World Economic Forum. Right? They aren't going to bring him in and have him preach the utopia of the decentralized fucking system because that is anti-WEF. So why is he now the head of the World Economic Forum? Let me tell you, because BlackRock is the replacement for FTX. Right? FTX was their new system they were creating. All right. If you remember FTX, it isn't him. God, what's his name?
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was.
Ben, contain yourself, man. We gotta make it to Rumble.
I'm not wrong, right? But he was the equivalent of Sam Altman. All right, and so what happened was CZ knew exactly what they were creating, because if you look at FTX, what it really was look under it. Look at all of the corporations that were shaped under FTX. That was their replacement system. That was rolling the old centralized system into the new centralized blockchain system that they were going to take over and run us with. That's why all of these wealthy people, they weren't, oh, hey, I got this great new token. You guys want to buy it? No, their sales pitch was, we are the replacement for our old system. We are going centralized. We're just going to put it on a blockchain. And that's why all of these wealthy people jumped in. They're like, oh, okay, it's our new system. That's why all of those people, and CZ, thank you, I love you, can't wait to hug you. He knew exactly what they were creating, and he alone brought them down. All right. And that's why he was actually put in jail. It wasn't because, like somebody on your platform used they're Russians sending money. No, that's all bullshit. They went after him because he brought down their future system. And now BlackRock is the replacement for that future system.
Damn,
and that's because if you remember, right after FTX, like totally shit the bed, here comes wonderful Gary Gensler's like, you know what would be great if BlackRock launched a fucking ETF. So how many years have we had so many people applying for an ETF, and then all of a sudden here comes Larry fuck you Fink, and he's approved, and it is now his largest growing product. The reason it's his largest growing product is because all of the wealth of that segment is moving into their new system. It isn't retail. Retail, trust me, did not fucking make it the most valuable ETF in the world, right? Because it's the old system moving into the new system that they are creating in with. And who really knows this, and if you get him alone, he'll actually tell you, is Michael Saylor, right? He knows exactly what the fuck's going on, because Larry Fink is at war, and Larry Fink's old system is at war with Michael Saylor. That's why Vanguard was the largest holder of his shares, because they can use his shares as a weapon against him.
That's what Simon Dixon was talking about with the financial industrial complex.
Yeah, we're at war, and we have a bunch of limp-wristed who are like, I want some more fiat. If you want more fucking fiat, go out and hit Broadway and hooker yourself. Right? I'm working for fucking Bitcoin, and let's get this shit going. We're at war, and we got a bunch of people who act like we're on a fucking parade. This ain't a parade. This is a march.
Oh man, I love Ben. Opti, what's your take on all this, brother?
Well, it's kind of hard to follow Ben on that one, but like I do agree with the most part here, and I covered this on Friday. And we're seeing this play out exactly, guys. If you're looking at the markets right now, you're seeing it play out like to a T exactly what's going on. Is they are trying to shake everyone out. Literally, like right when the market's open, that first hour of trading, if you go check on any Bitcoin chart right now, that first hour of trading, it's just like that's exactly where the market keeps getting nuked right now. And of course, if you're seeing all the leverage, whether it's short or longs at this point, right? Obviously today it was longs, but you're seeing that they are essentially clearing out all the leverage in the markets right now. And I saw someone in the beginning of the show basically comment like, oh yeah, of course, like Larry Fink is exposing the game that he's playing right now. And it's like, yeah, he literally did. He didn't go out there and be like, yes, we're leverage hunting right now. That's what we're doing. But he did it in a political way where he's like, look, the only problem with Bitcoin right now is the fact that there is so much leverage in the system. And anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear isn't like, oh, so they're going to be hunting the leverage out because, as Ben was saying, it's like they want to be, you know, the big players in the space right now. And so if they can take all your chips before it starts running, then this is how they feel like they can try to co-opt this system. As Ben was kind of saying, you know, everything we've been seeing them do recently is this attempt to try to centralize the control of Bitcoin, though I don't think they're going to really be able to do that because most Bitcoin is in self-custody, but they are doing whatever they can to try to acquire as much Bitcoin. The only way they can do that is by literally liquidating you or forcing you to sell that Bitcoin. There's not that much Bitcoin to go around. And so they need to find ways to, one, again, incentivize you to give up your keys so that it goes into these Wall Street products, or hunt all the leverage out there and then basically liquidate you and take your coins off you because you don't understand where we are right now. So this is a monetary battle going on right now. It is playing out on the Bitcoin chart. It is playing out with the leverage traders right now. And I know a lot of people are getting scared right now, but I mean, me and Ben were laughing before the show, like, this is what we were meant for. This is what is happening right now. And though, you know, you guys have been trolling me lately because I have been chart boying a little bit. Look, if we hold up where we are right now, you know, my magic trend line right now is not holding up well, guys. So I'm not going to say I'm going to go full bearish like Nico is. I'm just saying, look, I don't know, man. Who knows what's going to happen? But we know what's playing out. they are trying to acquire Bitcoin in whatever way they can. And we know how Wall Street plays. They play on your greed and they try to take their chips from you. Like, that's what's going on right now in the price. So look, if I had dollars on the side, I think the best time for you to be buying right now is after 10 a.m. because that's when we know they're going to be like, trying to dump the price. I think at a certain point it will stop having the power that it currently has. But again, you should be buying at like 10 a.m. every morning right now because that's when we know the price of Bitcoin is going to dump. So that's my advice for everyone out here.
Bro, that's a good take, man. Just pay attention to 10 a.m. and
dude, buy after 10 a.m.
It's literally been like clockwork. Guys, it's going to be an incredible show. You guys are going to want to strap in. We're going to have a Rumble exclusive part, Bitcoin Ben Unfiltered, during the culture segment. Before we get there, we're going to hit the numbers. We have a clip for you guys. What was the lady's name? I always pronounce it incorrectly. Pierre-Anne Boring?
Perianne Boring.
Perianne Boring.
Yeah.
Right. She's done a lot of great work, but it's interesting where she had some thoughts. I mean, she met with some Fed officials, like Federal Reserve officials, and they had some interesting thoughts about Bitcoin. Well, I think my honest opinion is that this entire year, I think Trump's policy has been actively being sabotaged by the Federal Reserve. I think the fact that they're not lowering rates the way they should be lowering rates is on purpose, and they're trying to wait them out until the midterms. That's what I think is happening. I think it's very obvious that it's happening. There's a war that's happening, right? And I think it's a battle between what the Trump administration represented was that they wanted to try something different. They wanted to try, they wanted to give basically a financial system outside of the government a shot, right? I think that's what the Trump administration tried to do. That's what they tried to do with the executive orders in the beginning of the year. That's what the whole strategic Bitcoin reserve thing is all about. Look, you guys want to know why the IMF they went bananas with El Salvador, and they literally said, listen, we will not give you a loan until you admit to the world that Bitcoin is not legal tender. You want to know why all of that happened? Is because they were petrified for the world to know that a money can exist that is not issued by the state. Not only that, they were petrified for people to find out that the money, the only money that is truly decentralized, that is not issued by the state, is actually a superior money to the money that is actually issued by the state. That is why the IMF did everything humanly possible to ensure that El Salvador said, okay, actually Bitcoin isn't legal tender, even though it functions as legal tender in El Salvador. Nothing's changed, but they didn't want that official definition because that idea in people's minds that, oh my God, wait a second, hold on a second. So you're trying to tell me that, the Bitcoin is better money, and you're trying to tell me that, the government isn't necessary in order for money to function? Like, the Pandora's box of that is something that you can't put back inside, because what people have to realize, and Nayib Bukele actually made this argument at CPAC, I think it was last year, when people realize a couple of things. Number one, the government gets a tremendous amount of power from being able to issue its own currency. That's number one. Number two, the reason we go along with fiat money, the reason us citizens, right? This is not in the Constitution, by the way. Like, us citizens, we go along with the fact that the government has the sole authority and the monopoly over money. The reason it's designed that way is because we couldn't have figured out a better system. That's the argument. The argument is that unless the government plays the referee, money becomes corrupted for private interests, for corporate interests, and the people get, they get the brunt of it. What Bitcoin proves is that you can have money without rulers. There's rules without rulers. That is why the IMF freaked out the way they did. If you're a central banker like Christine Lagarde, and if you're part of the Federal Reserve, my thesis is is that you are freaking out because now you have a competing technology. Now you have a competing system that is superior to yours, that doesn't require the rules and the regulations, and doesn't require the most important part. It doesn't require coercion. Bitcoin just incentivizes people to use it. And they don't want that. They don't want that competition. So they're using the state, they're using the monopoly on violence and on regulations to try to psyop people into not thinking that Bitcoin is money, that Bitcoin is just a commodity. And let me tell you guys something. Central bankers don't get to decide what money is. The free market decides what money is, right? So anyways, we're going to play you guys that clip. Then during the news segment, we're going to be talking about the Rumble wallet. The Rumble wallet just released on iOS. It's absolutely fantastic, a non-custodial wallet. So if you're on Rumble, you could tip your favorite creators directly with Bitcoin to their non-custodial wallet. It's fantastic. It's fabulous. So we're going to be talking about that during the news segment. And again, stay tuned for the culture segment. We're going to be having the first Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered with Bitcoin Ben. We're going to be right back in just a bit. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on Stampseed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store. All right, everybody, we are back. By the way, guys, stamp your seed into titanium. No better place to do it than the Stampseed. Go to stampseed.com today. I'm going to do some ASMR. Check that out. That's pure titanium, baby. Stamp your seed into titanium with the Stampseed kit. Use promo code SIMPLY. Again, promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com website. Get your Stampseed kit today. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $85,920. Block height, 928,002. Market cap, 1.7 trillion. 1.72 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 5.62%. Decline from all-time high. If you're buying Bitcoin right now, you're getting it at a 32% discount, almost 31.9. Anyways, we have this very interesting clip from someone. I forget her name, man.
Perry Ann Boring.
And she's saying exactly what Senator Lummis was telling me when I was in DC earlier this year. Wow, it felt like a lifetime ago. January of this year. It felt like a lifetime ago, but the price hasn't gone up. And what Caitlin Long has been making the argument for, and what we have been noticing here at Simply Bitcoin. I don't think the Federal Reserve is a politically neutral institution. And if the Federal Reserve, who has a monopoly on money in the United States, is not politically neutral, then it shouldn't have the power that it has now, because it has God-like abilities. It has the single authority to issue money in the United States. It has the single authority to control the price of money in the United States. And it has the authority to basically sabotage a president. And by the way, we always hear about democracy. That's always talked about. Democracy this, democracy that. We always get lectured on democracy. The Fed is not a democratically, accountable institution. The Fed Reserve governor gets appointed. They have a 6-year term. There's no accountability there. So what happens when the institution that controls money is not accountable to elections and is not politically neutral, starts acting in a politically motivated way, and is basically, I'll let her describe what's happening. What happens in that situation? I'll describe it to you what the definition of that is. The definition of that is tyranny, right? It's tyrant. They're tyrants. That's what it is. There's no accountability. It's a dictatorship. That's what it is. And they control the money. They control the money, right? So what happened in 2008 was the biggest crime that has ever been committed to the middle class in this country. What happened during the pandemic was, again, one of the biggest crimes that has ever been committed. Because, again, if you own assets, if you're wealthy, you don't care if they print money. You don't care if they debase the currency. I live in Miami. I saw the price of real estate double in a year. Is it because real estate got twice as much more valuable? No. What we witnessed was a form of hyperinflation in real estate as people fled to try to take their cash and to park it into assets. So it's not like it's not that housing actually doubled. It's not that the price of food has increased. It's not like no. They just debased the currency. And if you have a politically motivated, politically compromised institution that is not accountable to anyone, including the president of the United States, that's been basically attacking them all year, basically saying, hey, guys, lower the rates. What's going on here, right? Before the election, remember we heard for like 4 years, we kept hearing there will be no inflation. There will be no inflation, right? Like it's very interesting to me how you have one administration and, they basically the monetary policy was just print as much money as possible. And then you have another administration, this next administration, who is a little bit more antagonistic towards the Federal Reserve. And all of a sudden the Federal Reserve found Jesus and they're like, oh, you know what? We have to be responsible with our monetary policy. That doesn't sound very neutral to me whatsoever. Anyways, I'll let you hear it.
Just on the way over, I was watching an interview on MSNBC where they were just tearing this apart. Just last week, I was in Washington, D.C., meeting with members of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. And when I brought this up, I'd never seen a reaction like quite the one I saw at that boardroom table. But the folks in the room at the Fed were cussing, saying this is the dumbest idea they've ever heard. There's nothing strategic about Bitcoin, and almost kicked us out of the room. Because they thought this was such a bad idea, and how dare we even breathe this idea, in the building of the Federal Reserve. So this will not be without controversy.
So, I mean, there you go, lady. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand, they find it as a fundamental threat. You could have justified central banking before the invention of Bitcoin. But now we have a superior system that protects everyone. It protects the middle class. Bitcoin is money for the middle and lower classes. They're the ones that get disproportionately affected the most by the ravages of inflation. And there you have someone who is part of the Bitcoin and crypto lobby in DC. She's really good at what she does. She goes and meets with Federal Reserve members, and it's like as if she's talking about a taboo subject. Like, how dare you bring up Bitcoin? How could you even bring in the halls of the Federal Reserve? How could you even speak that unholy word in here? What are you talking about, demon? Like that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Now, Ben, keep in mind, we are on YouTube, my friend. So contain it, but speak your mind. The people want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, Rumble is going to be fun, my friend. Let me tell you what she walked into. She walked into the castle of Dracula, and she basically said, hey, you guys want to hold this cross? And that's what it was. Because, see, let me make this very clear. Trump is not pro the Bitcoin. All right. What he is pro weapon against the global economic monetary system. He knows exactly what Bitcoin is, because let's remember, Bitcoin doesn't need Trump. All right. It really doesn't need anybody. It's a system. It's a network. It's software. It doesn't even know who the hell he is. What they both recognize, what the left and the right realize, is it's going to win. Everyone is jumping on the bandwagon of the Bitcoin. They're just trying to lead which way it goes. They know they can't slow it down that much. They know they can't win against it, but they're like, well, maybe we can win a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, but they know it's taking over no matter what they do. It's in the software. It's programmed in. So what Trump realized is, oh, this is a monetary nuclear bomb. Huh. Let me figure out how this thing works so I can use it in my arsenal against the global monetary system. Now, Larry Fink and his fucking vampires, they actually saw it and went, okay, this thing's eventually going to kill us. But what we can do is we can get a hold of it. We can try and wrestle it a little bit, but we can't hold it down forever. Let's see if we can leverage this explosive energy and we can point it towards what we want, because that's what it is. It is monetary economic energy. It's like a nuclear weapon that doesn't give a shit what it blows up. It doesn't matter. If you drop a nuclear weapon out in the ocean,
I want to be careful. I want to be careful. Try to use a different analogy, Ben.
Oh, all right. Shit, that's a perfect analogy, though.
Let's save it for Rumble.
Yeah. Let me just put it this way: the Federal Reserve was created to destroy freedom.
I completely agree.
They know that. That's what Keynesian economics was created to do out of the London School of Economics in 1888.
Completely agree. Yes.
All right. That's what it was created for. And they implemented it in America on Christmas Eve of all days.
Yeah, because
no one satanic is that?
It is, and so that people wouldn't notice, right? They did it in the guys again. Like, go read from Jekyll Island. The way they implemented the Federal Reserve was sneaky as hell. It was in the dead of night. And then the implications of what has happened since again, this isn't some conspiracy. Listen, look it all up. It's all there for you to see, right? They did this in the dead of night. They did it with basically convincing the American public that this was going to bring stability to markets. Crashes would not happen. The biggest world wars have happened since the establishment of the Federal Reserve. The biggest recessions and depressions have happened under the Federal Reserve. And the worst unemployment has happened under the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has utterly, catastrophically failed their mandates. But we're still going along with the system, the institution. And it's because the institution have so much power. So when you connect the dots with what Ms. Boring was saying earlier on, how she walked into this room and essentially it's like they reacted like garlic, and they're like vampire. Like, how could you even dare bring up Bitcoin here? Like, don't be surprised. They're not in the interest of doing what's best for the American people. they're in the right now, their main interest is survival. Their main interest is the survival of this institution. And the survival of this institution completely depends on the public's perception of its legitimacy. And the thing with Bitcoin is that Bitcoin literally proves TikTok next block with every block that, wait a second, we can have an alternative system that is deflationary and doesn't require censorship and doesn't require rulers. What do you guys do exactly? Are you better? This is why they react in such vitriol. This is why they react with such hostility, because they understand that it's a competing system. This is why Christine Lagarde has to go out and every single time she talks about Bitcoin, tell you guys that Bitcoin isn't money, that Bitcoin is used for this, that Bitcoin is used for that. Remember what we had a show a couple weeks ago, guys, and we showed you guys that the biggest, the illicit finance and all the money laundering and all the KYC and all the AML, the majority of this criminal activity is done within the traditional financial system. But when people do it within the traditional financial system, when the big banks do it, they get fined. When our industry does it, we get sent to jail. The privacy, the Samurai Wallet developers, what happened to them is an injustice. What happened to CZ? What happened to Arthur Hayes? They didn't get persecuted because of money laundering or unlicensed money transmitting. The big banks do that all the time. They get fined. We get jailed. It's a two-tier system, and it's a two-tier system meant to protect the banking system. That's what it's all about, and that's what Bitcoin exposes, and that's why they're reacting the way they reacted to Mrs. Boring. Now, the good news out of all this, because this might all sound very depressing, is that right now, Bitcoin, because of its incentives, is working itself in to the financial system. The financial system cannot ignore Bitcoin's irresistible number go up incentive. But what we all have to remember as individuals is don't forget why we are here. Don't forget what we need to do to win. And what we
Hang on a second.
Go ahead, Ben, hit it.
All right. I want to actually disagree with you because they don't care about number go up. They print the money. This is the people who actually print these. If you produce the money, you don't care about the money. If you own an apple orchard, you're not swinging to the groceries store so you can get some fucking apples. All right. As the price goes up, they lose power. That's what they see. This is all about power. It isn't about money. They make the money. They produce the money. They can print up as much as they want. That's why the Federal Reserve has never been audited truly. And that's why Elon Musk is like, hey, we got like 8 friggin' computers that print money all over the place. They just actually create money. That's it. And what it is we live in a system where this is limited. Man, we work our asses off for this. They live in a world where this is unlimited because they produce it. It's all about power and control because they've reached a point where our labor is being devalued. So they don't need us anymore. As they roll in AI, they don't need us. As they roll in robots, they don't need us. And that's why they actually call us useless eaters, because that's all they see us for. It's like, well, we needed them when we had factories, but we don't really need that anymore. We can have factories without them. And that's why a few years ago, they actually told everyone, hey, there's this new medication out there. You should probably go get that. And now we're realizing people are dropping like flies. This is not This is evil at its core. This is Satan. This is not, you know, they're in it for the money. They're just trying to, you think Larry Fink needs more fucking money? No, Larry Fink needs more fucking power because he's an evil, satanic piece of shit.
Opti, what's your take on that?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to rehash everything. Yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm following Ben here. I don't want to rehash what was said, but it is, I think what this clip by Perry Ann does show is something I've been telling you guys for a while. You know, publicly you hear a lot of stuff that if you aren't really, I don't know, well-versed in all of the Bitcoin lore, if you haven't been around for a long time, you don't have as much Bitcoin experience as, say, people that have been here for years, you probably hear a lot of the stuff that comes out from, you know, the Jamie Dimons of the world, the Larry Finks of the world, or, you know, Christine Lagarde, et cetera, like all the people in these positions of power. And you might make the kind of rookie mistake of being like, oh, they don't understand Bitcoin. And I think what this point or this clip proves is a point I've been making for a while. It's, guys, do not listen to what they say because they're incentivized to basically act dumb about what Bitcoin is and what its implications are. But when you hear more examples of stuff like what Perry Ann was saying, it just shows you they know exactly what time it is. They know what game's being played, and they're doing whatever they can to basically get people to not adopt this thing. That, I think, is the signal that Perry Ann was kind of saying, is they know exactly what is at stake, and they're doing whatever they can so that more people do not embrace this Bitcoin thing. Because like Ben's been saying, once people do adopt Bitcoin, put it in self-custody, then they do lose power. And that's what this is all about. So another example of us basically exposing the fact that they know exactly what is going on. So you don't listen to them when they come out and be like, oh, Bitcoin, what's the Vanguard say? Bitcoin's digital Labubus today, you know, like it's a digital toy. It's like, no, they know exactly what this is. They know what its implications are, and they're doing whatever they can so more people don't start saving in Bitcoin. So that's probably the biggest thing that I heard from that clip.
Amen to that. All right, everybody, we're going to be right back after a small commercial break. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY. All right, everybody, we are back. I do want to give a very special shout out to, of course, one of our partners, the BitKey. You want to take self-custody of your Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, not your keys, not your cheese. Head over to bitkey.world. This is made by our friends over at Block and Cash App. Again, it has a multi-sig built in and inheritance built in as well. It's literally the easiest hardware wallet to use on planet Earth. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or use the just go to bitkey.world and then use promo code simply. You'll get 20% off anything on their website. The big news for today, the big kahuna, ladies and gentlemen, Rumble launches a USDT wallet and Bitcoin wallet for creator payments. This is a big effing deal. I was there in Lugano when they made this announcement. Right now, it's on the App Store. So if you have an Android device or an iOS device, you can download the Rumble wallet. Tip with Bitcoin. This is effing fantastic. This is non-custodial, ladies and gentlemen. So you can tip your favorite creator on Rumble directly using the Rumble wallet. You can receive it. You can receive that Bitcoin. And it's a direct tip. It's fantastic. And it's non-custodial, meaning it can't be censored. It can't be confiscated. This is a big deal for creators, ladies and gentlemen, because the way things work right now, it's through fiat rails, right? Fiat rails can be censored, can be confiscated. There's certain creators, we can't even name them by name. We'll be able to name them by name in a little bit when we get to the Rumble section. But there's certain creators that have been debanked. They can't receive any type of tips whatsoever. They have to operate on Bitcoin because they don't have another choice. And remember, one of the primary reasons as to why Satoshi disappeared in the first place was because WikiLeaks was deplatformed by Visa and MasterCard. So what did WikiLeaks do? They said, okay, we'll start accepting Bitcoin instead. They made a fortune because this was like back in the early days of Bitcoin, right? But the point I'm trying to make is, again, this is the way that I want the world to move forward. I want the world to keep moving forward in this direction where power to the people, power to the creators. Listen, guys, as much as you might disagree with what someone has to say, words aren't dangerous. Like, okay, you can call for violence. And again, that is dangerous. That isn't protected under the First Amendment. But your political opinion on something or an issue, that isn't dangerous. And the First Amendment protects that specifically. It says Congress shall pass no law. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, U.S. government has no right to censor the speech of Americans. And that law, by the way, isn't universal. It's only in the United States. In some countries, you will get put in prison for what you post on the internet. And that's crazy. And by the way, simultaneously, these are a lot of the same countries that lecture everybody about democracy and about how can you have a democracy if certain thoughts and certain political expressions that you might have, you cannot say without the fear of persecution. That isn't a democracy. And by the way, that's called soft power. And the reason it's called soft power is because they're not directly stopping you from saying those things. But you know in the back of your mind that if you say those things, there's going to be serious consequences for you. And because there's going to be serious consequences for you, you know what you're going to do? You're going to self-censor. And if you can't have open dialogue, if you can't have open communications, that isn't a quote unquote democratic society with open debate. That's an undemocratic society, I would say. So anyways, go check out the Rumble wallet right now. They just launched it. It's available on iOS. It's available on Android. And we're going to transition right now to the unfiltered version, Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered, with Bitcoin Ben in the house. We're going to be ending the live stream.
Yeah, hold on. Let me drop it in the chat for everyone. I'll drop in the chat. And I'm going to pin it. I'm going to drop in the chat and I'll pin it on YouTube for everyone.
So guys, right now, go to rumble.com/simplybitcoin if you guys want to continue watching the show. Again, rumble.com/simplybitcoin. We're going to have Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. We have Bitcoin Ben joining us in the house today. Tune into the Rumble live stream right now. Go to rumble.com/simplybitcoin. Download the Rumble wallet today. Again, You want it. This is how you support creators. It's a non-custodial wallet. It's built by Bitcoiners. It's for Bitcoiners. Again, go to rumble.com/simplybitcoin if you guys want to continue watching the show.
It's also pinned on the YouTube chat, guys.
We are going to be ending the stream on YouTube. See you guys over at Rumble. We're going to be right back in just a bit. I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at HIVEdigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitcoinBend.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Bend's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank. And you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys. Tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth. And join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinbend.io. Join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right.